I wasn't just dreaming. That monster is a real menace. Eggman. Looks like he's after Chaos too.
This Egg Carrier 2 was made because something like this could happen. You have defied your master, stupid beast. Now you must be destroyed at all.
I've had enough. Who do you think you are, anyway? Oh, it's you. The one who sealed Chaos in the Master Emerald. Tikal.
My heart has always been in the Master Emerald along with Chaos's. Now he's filled with anger and sadness. And if it goes on, he'll eventually destroy the world like he did before. Look! He's absorbed the Emerald's power. He must be sealed in the Master Emerald now.
How can that help? It won't change how he feels inside, will it? His heart will still remain in turmoil, and his anger just won't vanish. He'll just be trapped forever.
What choice do we have?
Hey, Sonic!
Amy!
Here, take this!
Hey guys, what's up?
Chaos only used the negative power of the emeralds. Sonic, you should be able to harness their real power.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think Tails is right about this.
Go, Sonic! Yeah, Sonic!
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 Negative forces aren't the only way to empower the Chaos Emeralds. Our positive feelings toward each other can make them work. Our hearts together form awesome power.
And so begins the final battle against Perfect Chaos. As per Supersonic rules, we start with 50 rings and lose one every second. If we run out of rings, then Sonic reverts to his normal form, and if he's over water, then he'll drown. If he's not over water, he gets hit by a wave, I think, and then drowns. Either way, though, the goal is to get to Chaos without losing much of your acceleration or speed. Because if you do lose any speed, then you won't be able to hit his brain, so if you don't hit your max speed early on, it's unlikely you'll be able to deal hits. He does shoot some projectiles, those are pretty easy to avoid. His laser's also fairly easy to avoid as long as you're not too close to a wall. And the water tornadoes, it's pretty much the same thing as the laser. Provided you're not too close to the wall, you should be able to dodge them fairly easily. That being said, though, if you do get hit, it doesn't make you lose any rings, however you lose a lot of speed, like right there. Ooh, that cannot happen when you're closing in on Chaos, otherwise there's no way you'll be able to accelerate fast enough to actually deal some damage. And so after 3 hits, we're done with his first form. But it's not finished yet. Oh, and by the way, yes, I did change the final boss themes around. You're welcome. For some reason, after a million remakes, Sega hasn't learned that nobody likes the order in which the final boss themes play, and they haven't switched Open Your Heart to the second theme. Anyway, the second set of projectiles is a lot harder to avoid. You need to weave through them because they home in on you a little bit more than they do before, much more than they did before. Before, basically they would just fire where you were, not where you were going. This time, it's definitely a lot harder to avoid them. Also be careful because there is a chance he can punk you with them from around the corner. I'd also suggest trying to get as many rings in the first phase as you can. That way you don't have to concern yourself with collecting rings in this phase, which does waste a lot of time and does make it so you're more likely to get hit. That being said, though, this isn't too bad because while his projectiles are harder to avoid and it does make it more likely that you'll screw up at some point, he still only has 3 hits. So, one more hit will take him out for good. Oof, yeah, that's where I usually get hits, just right around that corner. But we avoided his last projectiles, and we've taken him out. One more time.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Couldn't finish the game without one more use of that line, could we?
Chaos has changed again, this time for the better.
Yeah! Supersonic must have neutralized it, so it's nice again.
These are the Chow you were protecting. They stayed alive for generations and now live peacefully with humans. The fighting's over, harmony's restored, and life goes on. Thank you so much.
All's well that ends well, right? Sonic?
So that is it for Sonic Adventure. What? I feel like what I said back at, what was it, Windy Valley still holds true? A lot of people say that this game is dated, and I don't quite say that's true, because even when it was released, it was kind of a finicky game. And I mean, all games have their duct tape, but Some hide it better than others. Sonic Adventure doesn't, like at all. Its duct tape is very obvious, and it is obviously not the most well-polished of games, but I still love it. I love the duct tape, I love the dumb-looking pre-done animations that always finish awkwardly, I love the silly voice acting, and just in general how silly the game can get, and I feel like the game itself has good enough design where it's still enjoyable even out of, I want to say laughing with it, maybe you didn't agree, but I feel like just going along with this game being silly is fine. I still love this game, and it's still one of my favorite 3D Sonics, despite, I don't want to say clunky, because I can still play it pretty well. I don't feel like it's clunky, just obviously not that well made. I'm doing a great job arguing, aren't I? But anyway, I love this dumb game, and I feel like it's really the only time that Sonic Team's done this sort of thing, and have done it well. Well, more so done it well. They did try to capture it, and before I continue, I would like to say I am talking about the whole multiple stories thing, you know, having different scenarios for different characters and whatnot. It's something they tried so hard to recapture after Sonic Adventure, like every game, up until probably Colors, I'd say, because even Unleashed tried to do it a little bit. They always tried to do that alternate gameplay thing, or alternate stories at the very least, and they've never done it really as well as Sonic Adventure. And I don't know if they could do it as well, because honestly, they always, I feel like they go too big with their stuff, you know? Like even Sonic Lost World, which is a little bit scaled back, they still want you to be playing it for longer than you should, as evidenced by the fact that you have to grind for animals. But even if they were really trying to go for something grand here, it's like it's a lot more well done, well contained, scaled back than what they could be doing. Sonic has the most story and is overall the longest to play, which, considering it's a Sonic game, that works. Everyone else has a far shorter story, but they all have their own separate gimmicks, which I feel like work pretty well most of the time, not all of the time. And I feel like that's a good balance that they never really struck again, and again, I don't exactly trust them to strike it, so they should probably just stick with only playing as Sonic and maybe a few other playable characters, but not like alternate stories or anything like that. They've clearly shown that they're not too good at that. Anyway, not too much else to say. I love this dumb game, and I think it's pretty good. It's fun. I've already talked about how good the music is, though that being said, I would like to say, playing Perfect Chaos without the music in order to add it again in post really takes a lot of the excitement out of the whole thing. Like, I kinda wish I knew I could turn the background music off for most of the game so that the audio quality wouldn't be as bad, but I didn't. Though then again, I think the worst part is definitely the background quote-unquote ambient noise. Either way, though, I've done enough talking, so I might do bonus stuff in the future. I'm not too confident in Chao Garden. I've never played anything that's exclusive to the DX version, so we will see about that. Either way, though, that's it for Sonic Adventure. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time for whatever I do next.